Okay, so the Clippers, they win game 3. They survived the first 6 minutes or so, the avalanche from the Mavs, where everything was going in. I mean, Porzingis made a 3, and that was one of the few he made today. Luka's step backs were dropping. You had Hardaway make at least one contested 3 over Kawhi. On the other end, the Clippers were turning the ball over, committing offensive fouls. It seemed like this thing could have been over real quick, but, Luka came out of the game. And from then on, the Clippers were pretty much the better team, honestly. I mean, the big thing the Clippers did tonight was they went with no center for almost the entire game. I think Zubac started. They started switching him onto Luka. Everyone on Twitter was like, what the hell are they doing, including me. And then at a certain point, it was just wing players the whole way. Kawhi, PG, Terrence Mann, Batum, Morris, a little bit of Patrick Beverley, some Reggie Jackson. And they just sort of rolled with that, and I feel like it opened up their offense. And defensively, I don't think their defense was too amazing. I think they benefited from Porzingis playing like crap. But, I mean, Luka still did whatever he wanted to do. But I think the Clippers just basically said to themselves, well, we can't stop these guys with a center anyway, so we might as well just get another skilled player out there. And I do think it allowed them to spread the floor a lot, and it led to some of Morris's open threes in the corner. Reggie Jackson had some threes. And, of course, Kawhi and PG, they were insane in this game. I mean, when Rondo is out there, it allows Kawhi and PG to do a little bit more off the ball. Like, there was that one play where Kawhi got Kleba in the air in the fourth quarter when he drew the foul on him. And I want to say that he got there because Rondo just told him to go into the post. And, PG will sometimes run some off-ball stuff, but a lot of the time, it was just Kawhi and PG being really good. Whether it's in transition, whether it's an ISO, whether it's a simple screen. There were some plays late where it seemed like Kawhi was specifically going at Jalen Brunson, and I think that allowed him to get it back to Rondo really fast, and then Rondo had that one play where he beat Luka off the dribble. I believe Rondo also had a 3 late that was pretty big as well. And that was kind of the story, really. I mean, Kawhi and PG, they just made so many shots. I mean, I'd love to see how many step-back mid-rangers Paul George made in this game, because it was a lot. And I don't think there was a whole lot of defense really played in this game. I mean, with the Mavs, it was threes. With the Clippers, it was they just kept constantly getting into the paint. And, here's the thing. If the Clippers are going to decide, we're just not going to go centers much in this series, can the Mavs make them pay for that? Because besides Luka being amazing, I mean, Luka was still incredible in this game. The guy had 44 points. The only thing with Luka was the free throws, and the free throws, I'll get back to the whole going at them when they're small thing, but the Luka free throw thing is really weird because I don't think his form is particularly bad. I mean, it seems all right when he's at the line, but for some reason, I don't know what it is. He just starts missing them. I mean, you'd think with how good he is at the step back threes that he could make some free throws, but I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. Of course, he's still a massive positive for them overall. But to go back to the idea of can the Mavs make the Clippers pay for going small, besides just Luka signaling out, Reggie Jackson, Rondo, Beverly, whoever. I don't know, because we know Porzingis is not a great post-up guy. Kleba's not a post-up guy. And if the Clippers are not going to double, which you really shouldn't double if you have all wing players, because then you have no rim protection. It does make it kind of interesting, because it's like, well, Porzingis, he can do whatever he wants in terms of trying to get good position, but eventually he's just going to have to make a shot over somebody shorter than him, and he just hasn't been able to do that consistently enough in this series so far. I mean, he had a couple possessions. He had one turnaround when Luka was out of the game in the fourth quarter. I think it was over like Rondo or something. It was at the top of the key. That didn't go in. He had one over another guy. It was the classic like 12-foot elbow jumper for Porzingis. He tried to bank it in. That didn't go. He missed a couple of his open threes. And I think the Clippers are just going to bank on Dallas cannot make them pay for going small with their big guys. Now, that said, if Dallas continues to shoot as outrageously well from three as they are, and if Luka continues to dominate and there's no sign saying he shouldn't, then it's still going to be difficult, but mission accomplished. They had to win Game 3. They won Game 3. I mean, there was questions about the leadership and the toughness and all that stuff. And look, man, I mean, I think everybody thought this thing was going to be over after the first 7 minutes or whatever. And you just got to give them credit. I don't even know if it was a matter of them coming together for some moment during a timeout and being like, hey, listen, let's get it together, or if the basketball stuff just started going their way, and of course the big adjustment of no center. But they did it. They had to win that game, and it's still not going to be easy. I mean, they lose game 4, it's 3-1, but I just want to give them that credit because, look, obviously the Clippers bashing, it's a thing. I mean, PG hasn't even been bad. This was after game 1, and I did that video about how Twitter was just roasting the hell out of him because he had a couple air balls in like the first quarter or whatever. So I want to give him the credit of like, you won game 3. Way to go. How does Dallas adjust? Well, again, the big question is, will the Clippers keep going to no center? Because if they put Zubac and Ibaka back in there, then it's just Luka, go at that guy, and that's it. Because I'm just assuming they're going to keep switching it. I mean, they switched it in this game, which forced Zubac to go out, which makes me think if it's game 3 and you're still switching Zubac onto Luka, you're just going to keep doing it. So maybe they just won't play him that much. Now, the obvious thing you could say is, well, dominate on the glass. And they did. You know, there was a good amount of possessions where Porzingis grabbed the offensive board on him. But even then, I think the Clippers are willing to just be like, all right, can we as a group out-rebound the Mavs and just not allow them to get a couple possessions on offense? I think they'll take that if it means it gives them more spacing on the other end. Because there were times when like the Mavs were attempting to, you know, get out to all the shooting, but there was just so much space that you just couldn't really do anything. I mean, the Clippers really did a last season Rockets impression, and we remember what did that Rockets team in. One was just for some reason being flat after like game 2 against the Lakers, but the other was, of course, the Lakers were huge, particularly Anthony Davis. Well, Anthony Davis is not on this Dallas team, so this is an interesting thing, and I think it does make the rest of the series a little more thought-provoking, besides just, can you please not die on every single screen for Luka? And it forces Dallas to just have a moment now of like, can we deal with this sort of thing, or are we just going to keep shooting threes? Now, if they just keep shooting threes and that's that, then okay. I doubt the Clippers are going to bring a lot of doubles on Porzingis. I mean, there was at least one that I remember, which led to Porzingis actually throwing a really, really good pass to Kleba in the opposite corner. Or not the corner, but more of like top of the key. And he made it, so we'll see with that sort of thing. But yeah, it just creates an extra dynamic, and the Clippers desperately needed something to force Dallas to at least think about what the Clippers were doing, because they were just doing whatever they wanted. So that's that. Now, it should still be said, Kawhi and PG, they made a bunch of tough shots in this thing, and we'll see if they can do it, but we'll also see if Luka can continue the step backs and all that. They're not easy shots, even if he's clearly good at them. So, yeah, game 4 is everything. It's either 3-1 or then it becomes a 3-game series. So this series, it continues to be the most exciting, even if it could have just been 3-0.